Still. So, around. Just going up. I mean, I don't know he's out with her. Come on, man. Maybe get together better than that. Yep, exactly. And the more needs to be drinking better going up. You know, it's not what we're doing over there right now is not easy. mean, that is so stupid. You all that we're talking about. That's idiot. And I get it's more than that. Yes. Oh, no politics. I don't give a shit. You're a politician. うんうんうんあ、はい、ね。 Okay.
hancur-hancur.
No, 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 no. Not no, no, no. Any more natural lessons coming with this one? No, I don't have one. It's really playing. No, that's what you gotta come on whether we like it or not. The real president still is we have relationship with the terrorists. And how do we know you can't do that? Well, he's not kidding. Well, you gotta have these bills with them. That's make it. He's no, 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 no. Israel is no, 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 no. You hate them. No, 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 Trump. No, 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 Trump. No. Yeah, that would be the one from the Thursday. Oh, suggesting delete. That's the problem. We never work in peace with them because we know we're getting. It's coming. Because they go, what are we doing? That's more like, more. I was thinking about all of them. I mean, the only thing they look at women in the kind of next. That happens. More. Yeah, that's not good. That's what yes, and I just the only thing is all women with it. Well, no, it's always like dumb hiding rather than very slow. Long spines. I mean, I admit we got very long spines. I like them very. Yeah, more about our own needs. Also, this is one where the eyes of my animals. It's not gonna work. I really like it. It's the last thing that It's just another day. That's what I have. Man, there is no snow at all. Well, what's going on? Man, what's going on?
This is meteorologist Ted Keller with today's severe thunderstorm out.
I'm always a button on my own paper. I'm always got to pay for it all. My money goes for it all. I'm always got, my money to pay for you guys. They used to take me a pretty down. I'm out there doing getting an appointment with Tracy. I guess like, oh, I know that. Like, you hear Trump and Trump Chris. Like, you know what? You know, he's a got this so independent country. Trump is just, I don't know. No one knows what Trump is. He's a wow. And then they gotta make them stay in their place. And, you know, I don't hate him. And they can't get a hold of it. Well, he'll take you in there Monday, see what's going on. Saturday, I said, well, like, he's sorry, they changed everything around. And else they can't even get all they can't explain. And it's really bad. Yeah, I think that it's really amazing. What a job. No. Anyway, thank you. Hopefully they don't Yeah. Well, it's songs that God. Oh yeah, amazing that.
Friday, June 19th. I'm West Coast meteorologist Bill Martin. It's Friday, June 19th. We're closing in on the weekend. We've got interesting weather, thunderstorms overnight in parts of Northern California. They're continuing now. This is a live satellite radar. We've got red flag warnings in parts of the state because of these lightning strikes that we're seeing. We're already this morning seeing lightning strikes. That means this afternoon, especially up around Redding, this afternoon when the sun heats the ground, there's going to be even more convection or potentially more convection. So thunderstorms in the forecast today, and you can kind of see right where they are in that northern part of the state. It's going to be a nice weekend, and then it's going to heat up a bunch next week. We still have some south swell to talk about. We got some nature snacks to talk about. We got a little bit of everything. So we'll start off with the satellite loop and the radar combined. And you can see these little light bolts there, those little white lightning bolts. That's indicating where the lightning is right now. So just west of Redding, out towards Cottonwood, up in the hills there, you got some thunderstorms. You got thunderstorms up around Lake Shasta. Probably not the best day to have a houseboat rental up there. And then you've got, Chico's got some thunderstorms as well. We got some live cameras that are going to depict this. So it's very active. And a lot of this stuff is pretty high, which means the lightning's going more cloud to cloud, which is good. So we do have red flag warnings, and that the potential for cloud to ground does certainly exist. It's cloud to cloud is much more comforting, though, because it's not potentially sparking fires, but we'll keep an eye on that. This is a shot I picked up. This is kind of looking towards the south, up in the, that's Sutter Buttes out behind the shot. Let me pull up a loop on this, and you'll see these rain shafts moving in from the south with the flow of the that low pressure that we talked about yesterday, right? We talked about that low pressure yesterday. That's why we've had the robust sea breeze. See the rain shafts? So it's really pretty dry. The atmosphere is pretty dry down low. There you got some raindrops, right? So this is this morning. The fire situation so far, we haven't seen any fire starts from thunder and lightning. We have a few fires burning in the central portion and the southern part of the state, but nothing really out of control. The Southern California fires have gotten better in terms of the air quality. We are going to look at the Weather Service headlines, watches, warnings, all the way down to San Diego, where they're talking about surf again today and fire danger. We'll look at the computer models. We'll look at the ones that are essential to today's forecast in this weekend. We won't go out very far, maybe a couple days, but we do see more rain in the forecast, and we do see more potential for heat, and that's sort of the second half of the weather story. And then we go to California north to south, where we sort of just get a visual live camera look at all the cameras that I think show the weather that we're seeing right now, and sort of help drive home the concepts that we're showing: the deeper inversion, the stronger onshore wind, the unstable soundings in the northern part of the state. And we'll work our way all the way to Southern California, looking at air quality as well. Then nature snacks. We look at surf, a bunch of it, because it's been the story, and it will be the story. There's still a lot of surf along the coast. It's just not as big. And then we'll get to full-blown nature snacks, where we look at birds, eagles, and some Lake Tahoe stuff. So there's the loop. Let's take a look at the first of our maps. This is the red flag warning. And that's covering a lot of ground, right? So if we were to look at this, let's come in close and hit that. They're going to go red flag warning set until 7 o'clock tonight. So they're going to, once the sun sets, they're going to back off of it. Let's see what happens out in Nevada. Thunderstorm strong outflow until 11 o'clock tonight. Okay, and then we got the Southern California. This is befuddling me. I feel like this is not, somehow this is an issue. In other words, it's not. It says it's a extreme heat warning. I'm not really seeing that. I just don't think I think something's wrong with the system. Because if I go here, extreme heat watch remains in effect Tuesday morning through Thursday. So it's outdated. And then there's some air quality stuff east of Murrieta, air quality due to harmful particle pollution from wind-blown dust. So out towards the Mojave Desert, or towards Palm Desert and those areas, there's some dust blowing, which can be pretty typical for this time of year. The red flag warning, this is up in Eureka. We're seeing that actually verify. The models did a nice job with this. Then we've got the Weather Service out of San Francisco saying, hey, we still have this kind of weird surf along the coast. And I'll show you what I'm looking at. I actually was looking at this earlier. See that south swell? That's Ocean Beach. That's San Francisco. First of all, it's not giant, but look at the direction. See how it's coming from the south? I don't know. I was a surfer for a long time before I could actually see what a south swell. I mean, again, we're facing kind of west here, but see how there's a south tilt? Typically, the waves come this way. And so they have a beach hazard alert, which I get because that's really frothy in there. In other words, trying to get out of a rip current there would be not easy at all. So that's that. And then we go down to, I guess we're down in Hanford now. Yeah, Hanford. And we're looking at that chance of fire weather conditions. So they're just saying, yeah, there's thunderstorms potentially in the area. And then this is out of San Diego or Los Angeles. And they take the next step and they go, hey, you know what? It's going to be really hot next week. And we're going to see temperatures in Santa Clarita as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday into the mid-90s, Lancaster into the low 100s. So it's going to heat back up. So towards the end of this weekend, it's the weekend we know is mild. We'll see that in the models too. But then next week it heats up. So they're advertising. That's for everybody. So this is the sounding. And I put this in. Why did I put it in? Oh, I just wanted you to see how high the convection is. So up here, this is where the temperature meets the lifted parcel. This is where things go unstable, level of free convection in the atmosphere. And it's about 11,000 feet. So that's where if you can get a parcel of air to that elevation, it'll start to rise freely and bubble up and give us what we're seeing. It's hard to do. That's why most of these thunderstorms are occurring pretty high up in the atmosphere, and it's why most of the activity is cloud to cloud based. So if that makes sense. So it's a really dry, not horribly dry atmosphere down here. You've got the condensation. The condensation level is not that high, but to get this to really get taken off, you got to get that cloud up to certainly above 10,000 feet. And so we're seeing high base convection, which can be a problem for fires, which is not going to be exclusively cloud to cloud, especially when you bump into Mount Shasta or somewhere like that. So it's unstable out there. And we do have those red flag warnings. And now we're looking at the models. This is the GFS, is it? Yeah, no, it's a Euro. And this is a model we look at all the time. This is temperatures above average versus below average at 18,000 feet, which will just make the assumption that if it's above average temperature at 18,000 feet, typically that represents a warmer air mass beneath it. And so what we have now is this troughiness, and this is the culprit for all of you saw the moisture moving up from the south. You see the instability. You're going to see the deeper marine layer. This is all because of this. This is a saggy, baggy trough. It's not robust in any way, shape, or form, but it's enough to trigger the instability we're seeing in the thunderstorms. It's enough to trigger that lifted inversion and cooling and dynamic sea breeze that we have been seeing in Sacramento and will continue to see in Sacramento. And so what we're going to do is track, this is the model, we're going to track where that's all going, right? So here it is. That's tonight, or pardon me, that's this morning. And this is tonight. And I know it's like a nothing burger, like nothing's happening. But it does. It kind of slowly builds out Sunday. So this whole weekend, starting today through, it's going to be kind of mild. Once those thunderstorms get out of the area this afternoon and this evening, and we'll see that coming up too. But then it really wants to heat up right here. Look at that. So what I'm showing you is, okay, yeah, we're in this sort of unsettled pattern, and then Tuesday of next week, right here, the ridge really builds in from the south and from the north. And that's why LA's touting a heat event for early next week, which will be a fire danger thing, which will be an air quality thing, which will be a heat advisory thing. So that's summer in the Bay Area, in Southern California, Northern California. Good morning. Fridays, yeah, awesome, right? It's kind of gloomy at my house, just kind of cloudy, low clouds, fog, deep inversion. This is the RRFS, the newer model, and this is going to show you the thunderstorms this afternoon. So this is this morning right now, and again, you look at that, that's about where it's going on. Like if I were to go, oh, where's it right there? It's the same footprint. So what's awesome about that is it tells us that this model has initiated fairly well. It's saying it's got a pretty good grasp on what's happening now, even though this is kind of a little bit of a forecast because this came out a little while ago. It's got a pretty good grasp on what's going on now. So we kind of can trust it. But look at that. You don't see a lot of strong convection until later on this afternoon, right about here, up around Carson City. And then, I know, what do you do with that? That's just, the moisture moves out pretty quick though, doesn't it? Moves out pretty quick. So this is today. So most of the fireworks could be right now, because you see how it moves out. It's out of here by noon. Well, not out of here. It's into Eureka by 1 o'clock. So that's, you're on Lake Shasta. You hunker down today. Tomorrow will be nicer. Not horribly warm though. So that's the. I hope that helps. It's kind of it's tough because when you got a frontal system, you go, oh, there's the front, there's the wind shift, there's the rain. Oh, behind the front there's clearing. This is just an air mass thing. I mean, it's being initiated by the low, but it's an air mass thing. It's some subtropical air, and it's like almost. It's not like. It's just there. It's hard to really get it to respond to what we want in the typical ways. It's lame. You get the idea, right? Okay. All right. And then this will be the footprint, right? So this is that's what it's going to look like through tonight and tomorrow. It doesn't amount to a lot of rain, but some. And 3/10 of an inch of rain. That's going to help the fire danger up in the hills. And then we go back. This is the sea breeze. This is going to be for tonight. See, I'm just showing you, and mostly for the Bay Area populace and the Sacramento Valley, immediate adjacent to Sacramento, is just robust again. So that's that sea breeze that you wake up in Davis and you got low clouds and fog, and that's tonight. Let's see if it does it again tomorrow. Yeah, big push again tomorrow night, Saturday night. And then a pretty good push again Sunday night. And then after that it's going to shut down because that's when that high comes in. And these are the forecast highs for, what do we got here? These are forecast highs for tomorrow. So, Sacramento, 82 degrees, 83 degrees. That's pretty mild for Sacramento. Redding in the mid-80s. Southern Valley, obviously not getting a sea breeze, but 94 in Bakersfield. So it's just kind of mild right through the weekend. So this is Saturday. Southern California, you guys are 75, 78 degrees. Yeah, buddy. So there you go. That's the state, and that's how it looks until we get to Tuesday when temperatures really, really heat up. These will be the forecast highs for today, which are about right. It's going to be a slight bit warmer tomorrow, although I have to say this model this is the Weather Service product. I'm not so sure. I'm not buying the 101 in Reading for tomorrow. Not sure, but I could see it being in the mid 90s, sure. And then this is Mount Shasta, California, north to south. And what we're doing is we're watching the weather come in. What do I got to talk about today? We're going to talk about Calusa. I like the origins of that. Malibu, we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Fresno. Look at the clouds out there. So that's subtropical moisture. And you can see it's not really, there's a rain shaft on, that's right now. It's not really, let's see what that looks like on the radar. Let's see, so there's Weaverville, there's Reading, Lakehead. It's hard, I'm sure, there's Mount Shasta way up there. Oh hell, I'm chasing something. It's not really showing much, because that's what we're looking at, I guess, is this cell right here. So Mount Shasta is right here, and Mount Shasta is right here. So that's what we're looking at to the south. That was not very instructive at all. But that moisture is all just streaming in from the south. And then what do we got here? I think we're at, this is a shot I pulled up. This is from the coast. And this is going to be awesome. You're going to like this, I think. I like it. Yeah, awesome. So we're at 2,500 feet. So that's the subtropical moisture. That's really pretty volatile along the coast. And then the fog's going, wait a minute, man, I have a presence too. So you got a couple weather systems acting. Wow, that's a really pretty shot, right? So Eureka today is going to go 60 degrees. And then this is what it looks like at Eureka. And then what you're going to see, what can we show you here? I can show you that the inversion is, just right at that 2,500 foot mark. And we also have the air mass, which is becomes warmer than the environment at some point and starts to rise, and you get some cloud cover in here, and you're getting, these lines are pretty close together, so that's where you're getting there's an increased moisture at that level. This is Sutter Buttes, I believe. Yes, it is. And then this should show some pretty awesomeness. Let's see. Okay. We did weather, right? Okay. So this is way back. Well, that we must be looking at. What are we looking at over there? Marysville? No. I think Biggs or something. So this is this morning. That's all that moisture coming through this morning, and rain shafts, thunder and lightning in Granite Bay. Yeah, rain shafts. This is this morning. Sutter Buttes, you know where it is, right? So that's, again, just kind of a really interesting weather pattern. Lake Tahoe. I love fast forwards. I think they're so fun to watch. Just, there's somebody looking for a fire. Must have seen, they probably picked up some cloud cover that looked like smoke to it. Should come back here. Does it come back? Does it come? What? Dang it, sorry. And then this, I thought this was interesting. I think this is Tam. Yeah, Mount Tam. So rain, this place gets rain, right? And is it raining in the Bay Area? Not necessarily, but it's definitely sprinkling and drizzly on top of Mount Tam. So that's that saggy, baggy trough. This is at 2,500 feet or so, and you're just seeing condensation, orographic lift. The moisture's getting shoved up the hill, condensing, getting super saturated. Okay, so that's Mount Tam. Doing live cameras north to south. This is, let's see. Okay, yeah. Looking up north, kind of, Calusa's well to the north of this, Calusa, California. You see Mount Diablo kind of off to the left. This is out in the Delta, but Calusa is a town in California. I think we played them in football. They didn't have a very big high school though. It's from and I hope I don't ruin the pronunciations here, Patwin Native American Village. was called Carusi, one of the California's oldest towns. So it was a Patwin Native American village. That the village was called Carusi, and that's probably how it got its name, Calusa, right? It was one of the oldest towns in Sacramento. It was a really important riverboat stop for fueling of the gold field. So right when the gold rush came, they were running riverboats up and down this thing to get people their stuff. It's rice country. Because it's rice country, there is a lot of migrating bird activity there. And so because the rice fields, you flood the rice fields, and that brings in a lot of the birds. But steamboats were a thing, and so Calusa. So I like it when they name the towns after the Native Americans, or who was, they weren't here first necessarily, but they were here way before us. Carusi, so Calusa. Okay, I'll buy that. California history is pretty checkered in terms of like getting it straight, right? It's been revised so many times. I always have to triangulate my thought, and I think I think that was a quick Google search. I could probably check it deeper. This is or Fresno. Fresno means ash tree. Fresno, ash tree. And it was a railroad town, obviously. And you can just kind of see the valley. You're looking a little bit towards the southwest. Now, so we're all the way to Fresno already. Fresno today is going to be in the low 90s. And then Bakersfield. What Bakersfield's going to do today? Bakersfield's going to be in low 90s as well. Let's see. I was just looking at I scrunch my nose when I look at things because I can't see. What are we going to do? Oh, let's play this. This is Mount Wilson East. Air quality looks better in LA today. It does. It's just above this, right? Because we're at 5,500 feet, Mount Wilson. Under that, it's not as great because it's all that, whatever smoke is left. They're not having a smoke alert today, or an air quality day. But we can see. Let's see what the inversion. Is that Los Angeles? Yeah, it's pretty deep. Yeah. So yeah, well, for sure. Look how high up we are. We're at 5,600 feet, and the inversion's at 2,000 feet. So we're looking down on it, and you got a lot of room to mix out the air. All this under here is air that is kind of it's able to mix. It's stable. It's an inversion because you can see where the inversion is really high at 2,500 feet. So you can see it start to warm up. So what did we learn from that? I guess what I would go is just visually. I go, okay, see this visual of the fog, how far inland it is? That's this. That's because that is so high, the fog is deeper, right? And it gets over the coastal hills and over many of the hills and gets pushed well inland and does help clean out the atmosphere. So when we look at the air quality in Southern California, yeah, all right, no, that's not too bad for a Friday morning after a commute. Not as bad as it has been. So a lot of that smoke is probably cleared out from these fires that we had earlier in Long Beach. And I was looking at fires. There's nothing really. You always got to check though, but nothing really urgent right now, which is nice. There's your red flag warnings in Northern California. This is San Diego? Yeah, it is. Let's just go on to San Diego weather-wise. All right. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Pretty deep inversion as well. I'll bet we show it. Yeah. Not as deep, but the San Diego inversion is about 2,200 feet. And then this is the surf. All right. Friday. Kind of did it. What do you? Oh, I didn't do Malibu. We're looking at surf, so we'll talk about Malibu. But that's that south swell. It's a plethora of the bigger stuff. Like they were calling this south swell like the biggest ever, and I heard a lot of pontificating and I'm like, not pontificating. What's the word? A lot of hyperbole and just it's like. Yeah, it's pretty good size. I didn't. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know when people start saying the biggest, largest ever surf, south swell, blah blah blah. It really is a function of topography, which way your beach is facing. A lot of that big swell a week ago missed people. Kind of the swell angle was too steep. So I in my recollection, it was good sized swell, but it wasn't. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna probably get pushback on this too, and school me, man. I haven't been around forever, but I would say that was a good south swell for sure. But was it biblical? I don't think so. I don't think so. I can remember some swells. I can remember back in, yeah, but I'm going back to 1982, aren't I? Yeah, I can remember some really big south swells. And I guess that was 40 years ago. Oh, wait a second. Because I was hearing a lot, oh, it's the biggest south swell in 20 years. Maybe that's it. I'm going back 40 years. Never mind. But, well, I'd be interested what your thoughts are. A lot of you guys surf. I thought it was good sized swell, but not robust, but not giant. There's still swell coming up, and it's going to be consistent for the next week or two. So you guys in San Diego, it's going to be. I'm fearful of you guys because you guys are going to get really good at surfing because it's a lot of surf. You guys have had a lot of good surf in San Diego. Look at the south swell. That's Ocean Beach. That doesn't look like Ocean Beach because it's a south swell. Ooh, that's a nice wave. Yeah. Okay. I love that. And you can see how the south swell's coming in. Why isn't it wrapping? Why doesn't it wrap? Because there's no point. It's just hitting sandbars. And typically on a south swell, the lefts break more because it's pushing down the point. To the right of this is the Cliff House, right? And Sutro Bass, Sutro's old place. Okay, I'm already running out of time. I got to hustle. This is the hook, which is sort of an interesting perspective. When I was a kid, the hook, we're going to go back 40 years, there used to be a rope to get down to it. Now everything has stairs. So we used to scramble down ropes like nobody's business. And then this is 26th Avenue, I think. Yeah, Santa Cruz. And then this, my friend, is somewhere you just drive right by. Just don't even bother. Like, you're not getting a wave. First of all, there aren't many waves. This is Malibu. Malibu I kind of didn't know this. Malibu is a Chumash name. And they called it Humalahio. Humalahio. And it means surf sounds loud. So Malibu, Humala'u. So Humala'u, I'm totally screwing that up, but Humala'u becomes Malibu is what I'm reading. And they've got great surf right here. It's a classic spot, and it's Pepperdine's there, and it's awesome. All right, yeah, it's not. That's a gnarly looking crowd, just people. This is Seal Beach. Nice day, 68 degrees. Surf school? Wow. Surf school. Wow. How do you not bump into each other, man? Wow. Okay. Think about surfing. This is the wedge. There's the set, right? Yeah. That's the wedge. It'd be flat for a long time, and then that thing shows up. The set behind it. See the set wave behind it. Think of people, see how it's bouncing off the jetty, and then it wedges up. That's why it's called the wedge, right there. If you're in Tahoe, if you're going to the birds, I'm Karen like next week, maybe they're going to go. I don't want them to. And then I saw this. I brought this up special for you today because I thought this was pretty awesome. I hope I can find it. Let's dang it. I may run out of time here. There we go. So watch, they're feeding the baby. I think we got enough time to get it in. These are the ospreys in Montana. So look at the size of that fish. That baby, they got a giant fish. And they got one baby or two? Just one. And they are just, she's going, I want some of that fish, Dad. It's 28. I'm looking at the time scar. Look at that fish. Holy, we're staying on this, man. We're staying on this. Baby osprey. This is, again, Montana. I know it's Hellgate. It's a University of Montana. That's compelling stuff. That's nature. Oh, surfing. Just because you own a surfboard doesn't mean you can surf. You gotta be really in good shape. You have to get fit. You gotta paddle. You gotta do. You can't just go out and jack around, and you can, and if you're having fun. Look at that. But you're never gonna pick it up. You gotta be really. You gotta work at it. Old man Martin. Okay, I'll see you back here.
You know. Oh.
Chat. And then ask him how like the charter went and all that type of stuff. Four, three, two, one. Time expired. 75 is being applied. 75.
What? Yeah.
Oh, and we have your sweatpants at the office.
Well, he does. Hey, nobody noticed. Hey, well, it's just whatever. I mean, they're playing what? Even I never knew that.
Morgan, copy.
Tell me to thumbs up in the snow. Nope, blocking.
I'm still open because I'm still getting some transfers, but I'm basically done.
They know what's going on. Okay.
Supervisor, then come to 49 with the tug.
Yep.
Disregard, sorry, fine.
Yes, see, I'm gonna do that. We just gotta prep for you to get rid of anything. said he just had to pay for our use. Probably said he can't be it right now because
Five, four, three, two, one. Track is over route 2. 1 minute. 20 minutes. Eight 29, copy. Can you reopen the flight 29? You on there, Charlie? Brandon?
first, then 22.
Copy.
Ricky. People on the roof. A lot of people up on the roof. Can you go tell Hector? There's a lot of people watching the planes go by. 10-4.
Coast Guard patrol vessel in front of the flag here. Can I help you?
A primeira manobra vai buscando espaço para finalizar, e é o que ela conta muito. A primeira manobra vai buscando espaço para